Hello and welcome to Silent Creativa. Today we will make some resin paperweights. For this project you will need a resin kit, a scale, a container to mix your resin in, pigments, I use some for nail art, popsicle sticks, molds for your paperweight and the things you would like to have inside them, gloves, some felt, and decorations like rhinestones or charms. Measure your resin according to package instructions and mix it very well. For the first step you need a little bit more because you would like to have it for your paperweight and for the things you would like to put inside. Pour it inside your molds, pop the bubbles and let it sit for 24 hours. Color your resin in any color you like. I use metallic pigments from a nail art store in pearl and bronze. To make sure that every detail is filled, I push the resin down with the pointed end of the popsicle stick. After 20 hours, I took the pieces out of the molds because they are still a little bit bendy at this point to get rid of any flaws that I made while I was pouring the resin. The next step is to make some details if you like. I use metallic powder in green for grass on the piece with the Pegasus and some Aurora powder that is more shimmery on the part with the dragon to resemble clouds. I use a Q-tip and a brush for this, and make sure that you don't have too much of the powder, because when you pour in the next layer of resin, the loose pigment will be everywhere. Again, mix your resin. We will do this a lot in this video. When it's well mixed, pour your next layer of resin into the molds. Make sure that you pour it from the opposite side of the detail you made earlier. When I made the first two of these paperweights, I had the problem afterwards that under the Pegasus and the dragon were some bubbles. To prevent this from happening, I first covered both pieces with a thin layer of resin and then pushed them in. Place them where you want them to be. And for the last step, pop the bubbles again. If you would like to use a charm, you can remove the loops, hooks, I don't know exactly how to call them in English, and sand them a little bit down. You don't have to remove them or sand them down, but I prefer it. If you would like to add some rhinestones, add them before you pour the next layer of resin. Because it's easier to push them in now and rearrange them instead of turning them around inside the resin. To add something new and to make it a little bit more challenging for you, mix some resin again. Be a little bit more delicate pouring the resin in this time, just to prevent the rhinestones from flipping over. I drop some of the resin dot by dot onto it in front of it. It worked, but I think you can skip it and just pour it in very slow. So again, we will use the powders. I again made some clouds with the Aurora powder to give them a little bit more depth. And then I fill in the gaps with the blue powder to resemble a starry night sky. The nice thing with this powder is that it changes a little bit from blue to purple depending on the angle you look on it. So if you get your hands on some of these powders, they are called flip-flop powders, at least here in Germany. So if you get your hands on them, try them out. I like them very much and I use them a lot. And again, we would like to mix some resin for the next layer. with one I made earlier from the molds, I cut some felt to size. And now the day has come. It's the last time you will mix your resin. For a little change, this time we mix in some powder. I used a black chrome powder. And then you pour in your last layer of resin. First I tried to push in the felt directly after I poured the resin, which was a total mess. So I had to remove this later, pour another layer of resin, and wait it for 3 to 4 hours so the felt won't sink totally into the resin. After waiting for 24 hours again, the final layer is dry and you can remove your pieces. I like to cut off any rough edges at the back, and then you are done. You have your own fantasy-themed paperweights. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, thank you for watching.